I'm from Telmex, I'm from Mexico, and we are about to launch a few of these machines in the country. And just judging from our experience in these past few days, I realized that there are two key things that, in my view, are not sufficiently perfected. One of them is some issues of the machine. Its connectivity abilities. Just from our experience here, we've noticed quite a few of bugging things that once, if they are out there in the field, the machines begin to fail, it will be a big problem. Second is that many of us, although this is a group of converts, you were in a sense preaching to the converts, many of us converts still don't even know how to navigate this machine well. And I've experienced with people around this room that have to put these machines out to their students in a matter of days. And they are really not all that proficient being doing so. And that's another key factor in which,
the teachers aren't proficient, or the students?
The teachers.
The teachers.
Those of them who will be putting these machines to the students in the first moment, and that the students will look to them and say, okay, great, but they are scared that they don't know how to use the machine, they don't know how to connect. When they try to connect, it doesn't always work correctly, and many of them are saying, well, I'm scared to go and present this to my students and to the principals and say that this is, although again, these are a group of converts. So,
but they're also, it's not just that, be careful, they're not just converts. Everybody in this room also is an adult. Okay? And what we have found is that when we give it to kids, they don't have the same reaction at all. It doesn't work, they try something else, they do something else, they explore. It's a very different experience when we have handed it to kids directly. And I've come to, and I get frustrated with it too. I get very frustrated with it because it depends what software release you have, and I don't even know what machines people are using in the room, and they may not, there are lots and lots of things, and it'll always have bugs, and it'll never be perfect. And, when I wake up every morning, okay, and I mean every morning, including this morning, I have a royal battle with my Windows machine. Royal battle, it won't turn on, it's got this, and suddenly it doesn't do that, and I've got to reboot it, and so on. I say, my God, they've got thousands of people, they've been doing this for 20 years, and they can't get it right. So we're not going to get it right. And what we need to do is make sure that when you distribute it, you give the teachers enough self-confidence to allow the kids to do most of the learning and exploring and then explain it back to the teachers. Because if you're counting on the teachers to be totally proficient so that they can then present this like they do mathematics or a subject, we're not going to get there. So the few times we've been asked how to roll it out, Walter, who's just come in, Walter and I, imagine a person spending a month in the village with, let's say, 1,000 laptops. The first week with the teachers, just to get them comfortable. The next 2 weeks, one by one, getting all the students connected. And then the last week, just making sure everything works. But you do it in that order so that the teachers aren't proficient. And they're prepared, but prepared more psychologically than anything else. Because I'd like to pretend it's going to be otherwise, but it's always going to be, buggy. Just because that's the way software is. Especially when it's open source. So another kid could write software that other kids put on their machine, and it unto itself is disruptive. But we're encouraging that. So I think it's, you're from Telmex. It's a little bit in your industry that people thought of fault-tolerant machines as the only way to do telecommunications 20 years ago. And today, faults are tolerated in a very, very different, manner. So I think it's more psychological. Even if we had another 2 years to do the software, you'd still experience some of these things.
I'm just afraid that this may put some strains in the launch of the projects, and it will maybe become one additional obstacle, some bad press, some bad precedent, some bad comments, and
What would you recommend? as a solution. What?
I have a recommendation.
Okay. Okay. What is your recommendation?
My recommendation is that we have to rethink the order of things in the strategy. The first one is we have to rethink.
You may have to talk a little louder. Just
how to do the teacher training. There is a paradox in it. If you want to achieve what Nicola just spoke about, what you need is to create events in the countries in which you actually give confidence to the teacher by letting them enjoy the way in which the children learn fast. And this kind of circus we are not used to organize. Because our model is first we train the teachers and then we let them introduce it to the children. And it's not going to fly. And the reasons why it's not going to fly are multiple. One is the question of confidence. You don't let the teacher enjoy the realization of how the kids will go about it. And you get all these sort of traditional educational reflexes come to you because of this situation of fear. So this is one recommendation. Rethink what we call, capability building by integrating the children from the beginning and inventing types of events in which the teachers and the children work together. So, for example, in Brazil, there is the showcase of Lea Fagundes' school. That's one model. You can have even events that are very momentary events. You can have events in which you start with the children. But what is underlying here, and here I would also like we would like to get your sense about it, is that you have to invent these kind of events in an educational setting that is slightly broader, probably, than, the usual classroom in which you teach teachers and then you let the teacher teach the children. And it's one possible recommendation. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Marcela, and my friend Carla will be translate. It's a friend. En Uruguay, los maestros pedían por favor tener la máquina antes que los niños.
In Uruguay, the teachers were asking to have a laptop before the children
Por un tema de seguridad frente a la clase.
because they felt more secure in front of the class.
Y para el piloto fue así.
And to run the pilot, we did it that way.
De todas formas, en unas semanas, los niños se apropiaron de la máquina más rápido que los maestros.
Even in that way, the children in a few weeks appropriated the machine much faster than the teacher.
Para la próxima etapa,
For the next stage,
se les dio formación a los maestros,
we trained the teachers, or we formed the teachers.
pero tenemos otro problema.
Well, now we have another problem.
Vienen las vacaciones,
We have the vacations coming,
por lo tanto los niños se van a súper apropiar de las máquinas.
so what's going to happen is children are going to super appropriate the machine.
Sorry, you say that again. They're going to what?
Super appropriate the machine.
The kids.
Yeah,
Children.
like totally
Y
complete.
los maestros tratarán de hacer algo o tendrán vacaciones.
Or maybe, on the other side, the teachers will maybe try to do something with the machine, or maybe they will just take vacation.
Por lo tanto, en marzo, cuando comiencen nuevamente las clases,
So in March, when classes start,
habrá una brecha bien grande entre maestros y niños.
the gap between
There'll be a
teachers
digital
and
divide, right.
children is humongous. Yeah.
Pero le dimos las máquinas antes.
But we already accomplished what they wanted, giving the machines before.
Así que en un año contaremos cómo es la experiencia.
So in a year, we'll tell you how did it go.
Pero con respecto a lo que decía el compañero del sistema educativo,
But talking about what my fellow was talking about the educational system,
vuelvo a decir que en Uruguay
I repeat again that Uruguay,
se le da formación por parte de otros maestros
the teachers are formed by other teachers
sobre cómo introducir las TICs en la educación,
about how to introduce ICTs into education,
sobre cómo manejar el mail, la web.
how to use the internet and the email.
Y personalmente
And personally, my
mi recomendación
recommendation
es mantener un equilibrio entre lo que puede hacer el maestro y el niño.
is to maintain an equilibrium between what the teacher can do and what the child can do.
Es lo mejor que se puede hacer para que
The best thing-
confluyan los intereses.
That's the best thing can be done to balance both interests.
So,
So that's